Episode 6, Excessive Force. And I swear to Christ, it should have been called Unnecessary Force because one of these situations did not have to happen. And it's your boy Icon with a Marvel television review for you, going over that Daredevil. And before we get started, as always, hit that notification bell, like it or subscribe. Check out my other reviews. Help me get those watch time hours up. And let's talk about a little Daredevil born again. So, the tale of two people. All season, Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk have been on a collision course to escape their former selves as they're on their way back to their former selves. In the beginning, there were two completely pointless conversations that took place, but I guess they'll mean something later on. One for the Kingpin, and it was parallel because we would do a Kingpin scene, then we would do a Matt scene, go back to Kim and go back to Matt. Like their whole situation mirrored throughout the entire episode. We're still doing this thing with the $1.8 million. And I kind of feel like whatever's going on with the gangs and with the 1.8 million and him owing this person this money and everything, I feel like this is dragging on way too long. It's like just fucking either pay the money or don't. So one of the guys, like the guy who has to pay the money, he goes to Fisk's office. He goes to the mayor's office, and he was just like, "Yo, take that 1.8 and shove it up your ass." And then he was just like, make it 2.8 million now for tax. And then he was just like, you don't run shit anymore, Fisk, because you're a fucking mayor now. And he's like, you're out of the game. And then he leaves. So obviously the penguin, the king, I don't know why I called him the penguin. Obviously the Kingpin's going to kill him, and because he needs to reclaim the streets. Matt was talking to his girlfriend, who again, for some reason, looks a million times better with the ponytail. I don't know why. I don't know why. And she said, because she's also, in addition to her being like a therapist, she's also a book writer. And she said that the next book that she's going to write is about vigilantes. And she wants to write about vigilantes. And then she asked Matt if he could set her up with a one-on-one interview with the Punisher. And he was like, woman, you done lost your damn mind. And then she's like, well, what about Daredevil? Because, she said Matt used to defend vigilantes and everything. So he was just like, okay, we'll talk about that later. So Matt's back at his office. And then Angela comes into his office and she's like, oh, Mr. Murdock, I need to talk to you. And then she said that, my deal was investigating people disappearances, and he did say that. He did say they showed the scene where he legitimately said people are disappearing on the streets and nobody cares. And she said that he was looking into it down by the queue line, like the old closed queue line. And she's like, people are going missing, and this was his work. And then she was just like, don't tell me I need to be in school. She said that, and don't tell me what my uncle would have wanted. She said finishing his work is what my uncle would have wanted. And the thing is, I like the kid. Cute kid. She's got the fire. She's got the intensity. She's got the internal desire to want to help people, because we're clearly watching her origin story like right in front of her eyes. All I'm saying is, because of the girl's height, I need to see what this costume is going to look like when she puts the costume on, because the problem is she looks too young. Like, if she was taller, maybe it would look better. But because she looks like she's 3 feet tall, like, because she's so tiny, I'm like, I cannot see this little girl putting on this white tiger costume and going out there kicking ass. But it depends on what the costume looks like. You have to sell me on her wearing the costume. Or maybe she won't wear the costume. She'll just put the pendant on and just start whooping people's ass with the pendant for a while before she eventually gets a costume. Like I said, but it's just the height thing. Like, the height thing is just like, nah. Because then it's like, you're not the white tiger. You're like the white kitty or something. But basically then Matt was just like, well, I'm just a blind lawyer. What do you want me to do? And then she was like, do anything. She's like, you're supposed to help the little guy. But when the little guy legitimately needs help, like, you run and hide like a coward. And then she gets mad and she storms out. She's like, I'm going to do it myself. So she leaves. Kingpin, for some reason, he is the worst when it comes to schmoozing and the political aspect of being the mayor. He ended up doing a fundraiser with some of New York City's biggest elite. And they basically was just like, yo, the mayor, you're just a puppet. You work for us, and whatever you do is like it doesn't happen without our say so, because motherfucker, you ain't shit. And surprise, surprise, I forgot his name, but on the Hawkeye series, the swordsman gentleman who was Kate Foster's potential father-in-law, because her mom got locked up. She got her mom locked up before she had a chance to marry the dude. I forgot his name. It was like Jacques or like Francois. It was something, because he had like the accent and shit. But he made an appearance because he's one of the elite. Like, we know from the Hawkeye series, like, he's one of the rich folk. And apparently also, because we found out in the Hawkeye series that he was a fencer. Like, he was a swordsman. He was a fencer. He knew how to fight with a sword. And in the finale of the Hawkeye series, he used that sword to help take down the Tracksuit Mafia. Apparently, ever since then he's been going out as a vigilante because BB News, she was talking to the people on the streets about how they don't feel safe, and then she showed footage of a guy wearing a mask with a sword, like with a fencing sword, going around stopping criminals and stopping crime. And I'm like, that's the motherfucker from the Hawkeye series. And then he showed up later on in the episode talking to Wilson Fisk. I'm like, this motherfucker's a vigilante. That was a nice tie-in. Like I give y'all props for that. So then, like I said, so the elitists basically told Wilson Fisk where he could stick it. That's when he got the word from his goons. He was just like, yo, we got some footage you want to see. Earlier, a member of the sanitation department, he went to Fisk's office and he was like, yo, we were trying to break through this mural because apparently like there's the Muse, who's like the villain of the season. He was going around painting shit all over the city. And I guess Fisk wanted him to destroy something that had the Muse's like mural on it. And then the guy told him, he said, we tried to destroy it. But then when we did the chemical thing to figure out like how we're going to get rid of it, he said that we found out that whoever drew this shit, he painted this in like human blood. So now Fisk is just like, if the sanitation department can find a mass murderer before the police, we have problems. So what he ends up doing is he hires the worst of the worst of the worst. And that was so stupid because when he called in the commissioner and he said, I want to start a task force to stop criminals and vigilantes, he gave him the files of all the officers he wanted on this team. And then the commissioner picks up the files and he goes, this is a list of the baddest of the baddest of the baddest apples in the police department. So I'm like, oh, so we do have bad officers. And I thought you were all, shining images of the badge, because every time something happens, every time one of these guys does something wrong, every time one of them, like disrespects the badge or disrespects the law, it's always, oh, these officers acted. So it's like they never want to shade them to the public. But behind closed doors, they know they ain't shit. But Fisk was just like, some of them just got, bad reputations. And I'm like, yeah, for doing dumb shit. So he brings them together. He gives them tactical vests, and he tells them, you're going to be he tells them, like, no body cams. And then he said, you're going to basically have the authority to do whatever the fuck you want to get results. And he starts giving them, like tactical vests. And we didn't get to see it yet, but I'm pretty sure because everybody who was in that room, those are like the sons of the Punisher. Like the Punisher people that's going around, like, dispensing justice that got White Tiger killed. They're doing this in honor of quote unquote the Punisher. So I assume those vests are going to have the Punisher logo on it, like when we finally get to see this task force in action. So he's got the task force ready, and they're going to go look for Muse and take down any vigilantes they come across with. Angela ends up going into the subway system to go find Muse. She gets snatched up. The retired cop that works for Matt Murdock's firm, he goes to Matt and he's like, look, before you find out about this, let the police handle it. And he's like, let them handle what? There's a guy going around, he killed like 60 people, and he's using their blood to paint all over Manhattan. And then Matt, he got a little upset, but then he struggled with the whole thing. Like early, he was praying to God, like on Foggy's pamphlet, and then he ended up doing it again. And then while he was praying, Angela's aunt called, and then she was like, oh, she said she was going to see you. I haven't seen her since. And then Matt was like, shit, she got snatched up. And then he called the cops, and then they were like, 911, how can we help you? And he was like, fuck it. He put the phone down, and then he went upstairs, he put the costume on, and he was like, I'm going out as Daredevil again, fuck it, like, I'm over this shit. So he goes down, and he didn't get to find him, because I thought, like, when Muse injected Angela, I guess to knock her out, and then he put the tube in her to suck out her blood, I thought that Matt was going to get to him before that happened, but that's not what happened. The girl was actually getting her blood drained, and then when Muse heard a noise coming from outside, he looked outside, he saw a train go by, and then all of a sudden in the shadows, he just saw Daredevil running towards him, and then Matt Murdock punched him in the face, started whooping his ass. So in the last episode, when Matt was whooping the guy's ass who tried to rob the bank, Matt was getting beat up for a little bit because he's a little rusty at it, but here he was more in form. I guess the costume gave him a little bit more oomph, and then at that same moment, the Kingpin, he went downstairs to where he has poor Adam chained up, and then he gives Adam an axe, and he was just like, and this is the shit that killed me with the Kingpin, because he was just like, oh, he's like, a man has a right to fight, for his life or whatever. But then he was just like, oh, he was like, you and I, we both had the same thing, and we both can't exist having the same experience. Basically talking about his wife. He's basically like, yo, me and you both fucked my wife, and because you know what it feels like to bang my wife, one of us can't be here having that, on their he's like, I can't have you around knowing that there's someone out there that had my wife. And the whole time he's talking about this, the whole time he's saying this, I'm like, why are you not mad at your wife? Like this, first of all, Adam probably didn't even know you had a wife when she gave up the drawers. So you're sitting there, you're torturing this poor man who probably thought this woman was single. Your wife betrayed you. This is just some random, it's not like Adam and Kingpin were best friends and he was like, you betrayed me, brother. He doesn't even know who you are. And it's just like, because you had my wife, you can no longer. I'm like, bro, a lot of people probably had your wife. Let's stop capping over here. So then he gives him an axe and then he's just like, oh, fight for your freedom. And then Adam tries to fight the Kingpin and he gets his ass handed to him. Meanwhile, Daredevil is whooping the shit out of Muse, and then after Daredevil beat the shit out of Muse, and after Kingpin whooped Adam's ass, Kingpin grabbed Adam and dragged him back into the cell, and then he just sat there looking at him like he don't know what to do with him. And then Daredevil had Muse choked up, but then while he had him choked up, he heard that Angela's heart stopped beating, and then he ran over to try to resuscitate her. And then after he resuscitated her and he brought Angela back to life, he turned around and Muse was gone because he ran like bitch. So Muse is still a thing. I heard we got 3 more episodes to go, so he's gonna be because the whole thing with Muse, it's meshing in with the Kingpin shit now. So we've got Muse out there where we have a vigilante task force. The Kingpin is back. Daredevil's back. So the Kingpin now has an anti-vigilante task force. Daredevil's back and he's trying to take down, the bad guys. Somewhere this $1.8 billion is a thing, and his girlfriend doing a book on vigilantes is going to be a thing. But like I said, Daredevil and Kingpin are both reborn. We're here now. Angela looked up and said, Mr. Murdoch. No, that'd have been funny though. She was like, Daredevil, and he was like, yes, Daredevil's back, and then that's when the credits ended. And thank you for tuning in. So this was cool. So 3 episodes ago, and Daredevil's back. We were officially reborn in New York City. And then once the Kingpin finds out the Daredevil's back, he gonna lose his shit. And I'm pretty sure before this is over, we're gonna get one more diner scene between the Kingpin and Daredevil, with the two of them talking about how they're back doing the old shit that they were doing. So, but like I said, I'm down for it. I'm interested. We'll see if they give us 1 episode, per week for the last 3, or if they just, throw them all out at once. I said, but share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below, and let's keep talking about it because the shit is fucking motherfucking fire. Check me out all over social media. Check out my other reviews, because right now I'm doing WWE 2K25. I got the My Rise up on my channel. Check out the My Rise, and check out my previous reviews for Daredevil Born Again as we conclude to the end of the season, which was supposed to be 18 episodes, but they cut it to 9, which means that they shot all 18, but they're breaking that shit up into parts, and I'm like, I hate when they do that, but whatever. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So until next time for some more Daredevil action, because we's back, baby. Take care, and we're out this bitch.